What's up everybody, Coach Mills here, and if you've been playing ranked, I'm sure that you've ran into it. You might even have nightmares of it. It's the no shield meta, which means that there's no front line. You got Hog Ball, or maybe Hog Zarya, or maybe a Hog plus a flanking Sigma. Basically, you have Hog in every game, and there's almost no shields to be seen in this new meta that is pretty much affecting players from all ranks right now. So in this video, I thought that I would include the best 6 tips to dominate in a no shield meta world and give you tips and tricks on how to survive and find impact even when things in Overwatch are a bit crazy right now. So we're gonna jump right into it. But before we do, at the core of it all, performing well and making good decisions all come down to the mistakes that you're making in every single game. Now the best way to iron out those mistakes is going and heading over to GameLeap.com, where we have high quality positioning and psychology guides that you won't find anywhere else that will really improve your gameplay. So do yourself a favor and go check it out. But enough of that, let's get into the video. So the first tip that I got for you in this no shield meta is natural cover. And I'm going to repeat this a lot throughout the video, but it's the most important thing. If you only watch one tip of this video and you click off, watch this tip to the end, because natural cover is so important if you want to have high impact in your games. You see, first off, players were really using shield health as a replacement for natural cover, which was one of the biggest mistakes at low ranks. That's why you hear a lot of players at low ranks say, we need a shield in this scenario, when you don't necessarily always need a shield, especially when you're playing a dive composition or you're playing an untraditional dive composition, something with ball diva or whatever. You don't always need a shield. But I regress. Now that you have no shield and you have no option, natural cover is your friend and pretty much the only way that you're going to stay alive. Whether you're a DPS, a tank, or support, you should be really playing close to natural cover so that if you ever become under fire, get chased by enemies or anything like that, you have some sort of cover to hide behind. It's pretty simple, but it's really the way that you should be playing consistently. Don't be playing Ana in the middle of the open. Don't be playing McCree up on the front line like you would be playing with the Rhine. You can't do these type of things because you're just going to eat damage to the face. You're going to get hooked. You're going to get naded, and it's just going to be the end for you. Imagine that if you got naded at any moment, you could quickly and easily get behind natural cover right away. If you're standing too far away, if you don't have that 1 second travel time, then you need to adjust your positioning consistently when you don't have a front line. So definitely keep that in mind. Now on top of that, high ground is going to be something that you want to be playing on a lot. This is specifically for making plays. There's going to be a specific type of positioning that is going to make it a lot easier for you making plays, which is going to be a tip I'm going to talk about later. But having the high ground also gives you that natural cover because you could back up from the high ground, and of course you're going to have a vantage point to make plays, different types of plays that I'm going to talk about in a second. But remember, high ground, natural cover, that's pretty much the only thing you have to work with when you got no shield. Now the second thing is plays over sustain. And what do I mean by this? Well, for the vast majority of the games you played in the past, when you have double shield or something like that, it's all about sustain, right? You heal and heal and heal. You just keep pumping your tanks with heals over and over again. You build up these ultimates, you build up this advantage, and you win the game that way. Well, games don't really play out that way right now. Games are a lot quicker. When players have no shields, picks happen far more, and games and teamfights are decided far more rapidly. It is actually really crazy the way that the game is shifting right now, and what that means is you should really be valuing plays over sustain, especially from the support role. So instead of just pounding heals over and over again, you can win a fight convincingly, just getting a 3-man nade, the fight's over just like that. It puts so much pressure on the enemy, and if they don't die, at the very least they have to back up, play reserved. It gives your tanks a lot more breathing room, so in an essence, you're actually healing them effectively for a lot by making these aggressive plays. Now, I'm not saying don't heal. You definitely need to be healing your team, but when you have takes like a Hog and a Hammond, for example, they don't really need your heals that much. I mean, they need it every once in a while, but if you can make a play like sleeping the enemy Hog or hitting a fat nade on 3 people, making a play that really connects with the enemy and finds an opportunity for y'all to get those picks on the table, that's going to be worth a lot more than just perma-pocketing your Hog over and over and over again. And if your team starts playing around natural cover more and they're playing these characters that really rely less on playing with a front line, you're not going to have to heal as much, so you're going to have more room to make these aggressive plays. Now, the next big tip that I got for you is play characters that rely less on shields. This is pretty obvious, and even if you do have a shield tank, keep in mind that your shields are going to get hurt really, really fast. Like, shields are taking a lot of damage in this meta right now, and if you don't have a shield, playing characters that rely less on shields is pretty much the best thing that you could be doing. Now, what are examples of characters that really rely on shields that are pretty much only characters that you should play if you have a shield? Well, a character like McCree is the perfect example, right? Yes, he can get value on the off angles. Yes, he can get value on the high ground or flanking, but he doesn't have a lot of tools struggles to reposition himself, and he doesn't have good mobility, and he has to really be playing from that mid to close range to get effective value. So realistically, McCree really wants that front line to get value. He wants that Ryan, he wants that Orisa, and if you play him with a comp like Hog and Ball, you're just open to so many lines of sight from the enemy, and you really are going to be peeking slightly out of natural cover to try to get value like we talked about before, but you're not going to get as much value as you would with some of the other picks we're going to talk about. Now, a character that wouldn't need shields that much. Imagine a character like Widowmaker. She never really played behind her shields in the first place. She could play really far back. Even a player like Soldier that is always on the flank. A player like Tracer who dives in. She's very good in this meta. Even players like Genji who just dive in as well. Basically, you want to be playing a character that doesn't play on the axis of needing some sort of front line. But if you do need a front line with your character and you're trying to play him in the exact same way that you were before, you are going to be in for a rough time. So it's best if you play a character where their best or predominantly strong strategy is not playing on the front line, instead of playing a character like McCree and being forced to adapt to this really passive flanky role or off angle role or whatever role you're filling on McCree because you don't have a front line. I hope this makes sense to you, because this is a really important concept, and really start putting time and effort into playing some of those characters that don't really need a front line in the same way that other characters do. And then of course you can play that frontline character if you have a good front line, but you always change depending on the situation. Now the next tip I got for you is abuse the enemy for not playing shields. We talked about this a little bit before with the characters you could pick and the plays that you could make, but when the enemy themselves are not playing shields, there are things that you could specifically do to really punish them. The first thing is you need to be playing characters that could put a lot of pressure on the enemy's tanks when they're playing or fishing for kills, especially a character like Roadhog. Putting in pressure and forcing out that breather really just keeps him in check. Just because there's no shield to spam and there's no shield to hide behind doesn't mean you can't just be outputting damage rapidly. Also, making plays like we talked about with the anti-nade, there's nothing to block that. Maybe if the enemy's playing Diva or something like that, they can, but if the enemy's playing Zarya, track her bubbles, wait for an opportunity, try to get a good nade off, and then just focus it down together. It's pretty simple. And then of course, characters that you can really get value out of when the enemy's not playing shields, like we talked about. Character like Widowmaker gets absolutely free reign, because unless they have a legitimate diver that is diving on you consistently like a Hammond, you just have no shields you have to play around. You can just get free pickoffs here and there, and you're just gonna basically just be able to dominate if you have the mechanical skill to back it up. So that is a lot better right now for her than playing in like the double shield meta, where enemies could just bunker behind those shields. They're never gonna go down, and you just basically feel useless. Now moving on to the next tip that we have for you, and this is soft combo more. So here's what I mean by that. This is not comboing ultimates, which are still good, of course. They're always good no matter what meta you're in, but there are tons of soft combos that are gonna work so efficiently in this meta, as opposed to metas where those soft combos could get really shut out by a shield. Just that's as simple as it was. So imagine a soft combo like an Orisa pull into an Ana nade. Now think about what the enemy tanks are playing. Maybe they're playing like a Zarya or a Roadhog, or maybe imagine even a Ball on a Roadhog, right? If you pull the Roadhog and nade him, what counter does he have to that? Only his positioning. He doesn't have any shield to block it, no DM, no nothing like that. So really be thinking about these soft combos, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of ones you could set up, like even like an Orisa pull plus hook. You're not playing Orisa necessarily for her shield, but you're playing it to set up your Roadhog. That could be something really powerful you could do. Even doing something as simple as just discording a target and having your Tracer go in on them. It's just a combo of characters, and this is why if you are playing in this meta, I would almost pretty much as a necessity, I would highly suggest you duo queue with someone outside your role. Like playing a solo Roadhog, of course you could carry, yes, but if you are doing with like an Ana, or maybe you're playing a DPS character and you're doing with a support or a tank or whatever, having two players that are on the same page trying to combo together and play together is going to be so important in this really scrappy meta where it's really pick oriented, and there's going to be like small skirmishes and plays all around the map. So definitely keep these things in mind. This would be like the duo queue meta. If you've never duo queued before, or you mainly solo queued, now might be a good time to whip out that buddy, dial him up, or hit him up on Discord, because duo queuing right now is going to be A1. Now speaking of duo queuing, this kind of leads into the last tip, and this one might be the most important tip in the entire video. So this is pretty much necessary, guys, and it's peel as much as possible. So most of you are going to know what this means, but first I'm going to break it down for people who don't. Peeling is the art of either healing or coming back and helping someone who was under threat. Okay, so peeling is going to be really, really important in these kind of games. If a Roadhog's on your flank, all it takes is for you to go and basically try to contest that Roadhog together with one of your allies. Imagine a Roadhog is flanking, right? And he tries to go in on your McCree. Right before he hooks your McCree, you sleep him as Ana, you walk up, you nade him, and then you stun him, and then both of y'all kill him together. What did that peel cost you? Maybe 7 seconds of your time and some of your cooldown, sure, but what did you get out of it? You got to kill the Roadhog for free, just shutting down his play. And this is true across the board. Imagine if your Ana is getting killed by a Tracer, and all you do as Roadhog is just turn around and hook the Tracer, or shoot the Tracer to get the Tracer off your Ana. Peeling is going to allow your team to survive more. It's going to prevent them from getting fragged out, because if you could just protect your team for a little bit of time, waste all the enemy players' time and their cooldowns, and then you go and make a play yourself, that could be a way that your Ana can protect you and Ana can enable you instead of her just dying to the Tracer, because you're so tunnel vision on the front line, but you don't realize if your Ana dies, no matter what play you do right on the front line, that could be neutralized from the fact that you didn't peel for your Ana. So realistically, try to peel as much as possible, even if you're trying to do it from a selfish point of view. Like, I know some of you just don't even care about what's going on with your teammates, but if you have to think about it like, hey, if I protect my Ana as Roadhog, then she will help me kill this other Roadhog when I hook him because she'll sleep him and nade him. That is just a way to think about it selfishly, but at the very least, you are more incentivized to peel, so I'm sure that your Anas were happy for you doing that, even if it's not for the right reasons. Who cares in the end of the day? Now, with that being said, I definitely want you to tell me in the comments down below, what problems are you running to in this meta? Do you love this meta because it's way quicker and there's just a lot of fights and a lot of deaths and a lot of killing? Or do you hate this meta because you feel like there's no shield to protect you? I definitely want to know your personal experience in the comments down below, as well as tell us your best tip to survive in the no shield meta. I'm definitely interested in what you have to say, so definitely let me know, and if you have any questions, I'll be answering them down below. But if you want to improve on any of the characters that are good in this meta, Tracer, Widowmaker, Roadhog, there's tons of characters that are good right now that haven't been good for a long time, and now's your chance to make your mark, climb from this rank to the next or even the next. So if you want to master any of these characters, you definitely got to go check out GameLeap.com. I mean, realistically, we've put thousands and thousands of hours into creating a top to bottom course over all these heroes. So what are you waiting for? You want to improve, you want to get better, go check it out, links down below. But that's all we got for you today. Thanks for coming by. I'm Coach Mills, and of course, until next time,